On Saturday, January 23rd, Santa Barbara's Art from Scrap Gallery hosted an opening party for their new exhibition, which includes the works of emerging artists. Some of the Arts from Scraps works include dance, poetry, music, video, fiber arts, photography, mixed media, and more. A couple of weeks after the exhibition opening, which goes on until February 29th, artist Jie Loo, whose paintings are being exhibited at Art from Scrap Gallery, was able to come into our KCSB office and speak to us about her art, inspiration, and what she wishes the public perceives her art as.
I like to say that I paint rhythms, but it's a lot to unpack because the word rhythm, it could be heartbeat, it could be spiritual or rituals in different cultures. When I say I paint rhythm, it's all those things. I guess there's a stage on and stage off process for painting. I think of painting as a performance. So when it's stage on, I am improvising. I'm doing it very quickly, usually within the time of a concert or a performance or a song. I would use my brush spontaneously, thinking about the next step. I would lay down the first stroke and then immediately have to think of the second and third to complete the painting. And to complete the painting is to find balance between colors and space, black and white. I call it the concept of yin and yang from my own culture, but that's also guidance, not a specific rule. And stage off, I have to practice calligraphy. I have to read a lot and I continuously write or blog about my inspirations. Sometimes when I listen to, let's say, a song that I like, I would immediately think in terms of the rhythms because I play the hand drums, mostly djembes. I would translate the bass note of the drum into perhaps a darker color, and I would think of all the high-pitched tones or the solo or the voice as perhaps the more dynamic section of my paintings. In a way, I translate the music and the rhythms into colors that I see and the mood I feel from the paintings. When I paint, I like to think that I'm searching for the human spirit of the world. One thing that I think our recent history that really shapes our world right now is pretty much based on borders, based on our passports and visas. But I like to think that our human spirit is more fluid, and that's how it should be, and there's no borders or nationalities about it. It's just how people are inspired and from each other and how we leave the marks of inspiration in our life.
How do your paintings represent that fluidity?
I think that's why I paint pretty abstractly. I don't paint portraits of people. Really, I want people to connect with my paintings with their own experience because I bring out an experience of my own. Everybody bring their own history when we engage and talk with other people. So I want people to do that the same when they see my paintings, to engage with it.
If somebody goes to your painting and doesn't know what art is, how do you hope they interact?
I would encourage them to open themselves up, to let their emotions let loose, and so to connect with any artwork, to see beyond the forms, because an artwork has a form. There's usually shadows and colors in the frames, but how do you get deeper into it? By engaging it. Ask questions about what do you want to see in the paintings? What emotions do I want to see in this painting? What personality is the artist? Instead of just rejecting the notion by saying, oh, I don't know art, then you reject trying to know a new person.
Do you think art is important to our kids, to the society?
It's super important. It's how the earliest human leave marks in the world by all the cave paintings and their history. And it also symbolizes culture, our spirit, our dreams, hopes and dreams. And so everybody should have an outlet of some sort of art in their life to express themselves or de-stress or finding their voice.
Have you found your voice through it?
I'm still searching for the voice that when people see it, they say, I know this person. I reach a point when they say, oh, she's about this.
Tell us a couple of your proudest paintings.
The most recent endeavor I had was a series called Ink Innovations. Basically using the tradition of Chinese ink painting and try to innovate within the traditional medium. I found a way to paint it that is a new way. Abstract, expressive, dynamic. I try to build it upon my own tradition, which is the ink painting. I've showed it in Santa Barbara and also my home in Malaysia. It was my proudest moment. I wanted to show it to my people, and I also wanted to show it to the community I live in. Having done that makes me very proud because right now who I am is a product of living in different cultures and live different countries. It's not just all Malaysian or all American culture. It's a blend. And so that body of work really signifies that sort of direction, how I recognize myself evolving and changing and going towards something special. So I'm very proud of that body of work.
And where did you do that body of work?
I did it both in Malaysia and here. Reason being, I got a fellowship to learn from a master ink painter called Dr. Chia Tian Song. This fellowship was to specifically learn from him, shadowing him, going to exhibitions and work in his studios for almost half a year. And then as I finished that, I started the body of work right after. And then when I returned here, I continue doing it. So yeah, I produce it in both places.
At your art show, you told me about how you traveled.
Everybody's hope is to be able to travel to the exact culture they want to absorb from. But luckily, I'm in Santa Barbara, where basically the culture comes to me. So there's Cuban folkloric music ensemble called Grupo Maferafun in Santa Barbara, and it's a bunch of really amazing people playing music together. And I was able to collaborate with them by inviting them to my art residency. I set up a table. They would play for about an hour or so, and then I would interact with their music and paint. And so that painting ended up in this show in Art from Scrap Gallery. There are other occasions too where I would also ask. I meet the director of the Gamelan group, Richard, in UCSB, and then I would say, oh, can I also sit in your rehearsals and concerts so that I can paint your music? So I also have a painting about the Indonesian traditional music called the Gamelan. I will find myself in different concerts and performance, and if I'm really inspired, really absorbed by their energy, that's when I paint the best or sketch the best.
How has technology played a role in your painting?
I think most of the technology is for marketing. I try to sketch with ink brushes, and I paint with traditional medium, which is the xuan paper for Chinese ink painting, sometimes the canvas, which is also a traditional painting medium. But I would stage the process, like I would video the whole thing, and then I would edit it and show it on YouTube and post it on my website for people to see the offstage process. So I also make sure I have really good quality songs or music if I really want to play the rhythms in the studio instead of seeking them out in a performance. And also, if I wanted to print my paintings, I need to make sure that they are calibrated correctly in terms of colors and textures and the reproduction of it. Trying to market my work in a way that it's on social media, it's on my website, also perhaps prints of my larger pieces and also the pieces itself. So far, this is what I've done.
Do you ever paint on technological devices?
I do. So in fact, I also paint directly on the iPad using the stylus pen. There's a program I use called Paper. The effect is really nice. It's sort of like watercolor once you realize how to mix it and make the waterly feel. I actually use it a lot when I'm out because iPad is easy to carry around. So if I see something, person doing a solo on the drums, then I would immediately pull it out and sketch it. In fact, I also have a book coming out in the spring that I actually collaborate with my poet friend. She's a writer poet, and this story is called Holding Demons in Small Jars. It's at the very end of our production right now to be published, and it's a novella and about a story of a mystery of this 3 boys went missing and what's happening, and almost like a post-Civil War story where people have wounds within themselves and how they try to resolve it, and I'm illustrating that story.
You read it with the iPad, or you created it with
I created with the iPad. So I would have the novella in front of me and come up with images throughout the books, and also the cover. One of my paintings is the cover of the book. The cover is actually an acrylic pieces on canvas, but I think it's an abstract piece that really matches the mode of the book. Mysterious, yet it's trying to find something deep within ourselves. I thought that painting fits it.
What was your role in creating the book?
Jasmine, who's the writer, Jasmine Kumala, is my really, really best friend in college. Both of us didn't realize how much writing or expressing ourselves in painting really plays a role in our lives in terms of healing. We sort of neglected how to take care of ourselves using the way we know it. And so for her, it was writing. For me, it's painting. painting and drumming. And we only think of this idea, this project, probably 2 years out of graduation. We would always talk and check in with each other. We started this project together thinking that we really should collaborate. And since we're really good friends, we think highly about how art is a healing tool and how we should resolve some of our world conflicts through art and writing. So this is the baby of our collaboration.
How might you think that we can put art out there for younger kids?
I think I would quote this from Lin Huaimi. This is a very meaningful quote. He said he grew up in the 60s. He's influenced by the Kennedy speech. Don't ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. If I sort of paraphrase it and make it my own, I would say what I want to do for my community. What do I want to leave behind that is a sound and responsible and a positive and hopeful message. And that's why I keep doing what I do. It could be a book. It could be a painting. It could be a song. It could be a collaboration that I recorded in a CD. But what I do has meaning for humanity. It gives a diverse look at our culture and not to really boil down just stereotypes. So I currently have 2 shows on exhibition. One, it's called Emerging Artists Show by artists from Arts Without Limits, a mentorship program that is showing in Art from Scratch until March 5th. The other one, it's called Organic Matters. These artists, we are also in a group show that we're producing art using more organic elements, also open for interpretation. Some people uses dried fruit, some people uses wax over leaves and papers. Mine is called Swirling Spirits. It's natural paint on natural fabrics. So it's going to be up till end of February in the JCC, the Jewish Federation of Santa Barbara.
Reporting for KCSB News, Cassandra Gutierrez.